有了三纲里会我书，好的看太深。我
and all living beings, preserve the wonderful Dharma will to teach us how to live suffering and endless and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye ulahadi samya sambuddhosye.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samya sambuddhosye.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even through billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Venerable Master, Dharma friends, welcome again to our lecture today. We're going to be investigating an incredibly wonderful story about our grand teacher, Master Empty Cloud. And we have a little bit more of our protocol to go through before we get there. We would like to especially acknowledge country and say that we respectfully acknowledge the Kombu-Meri people of the Ugambi language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where our monastery is located. We pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 这时候我们恭敬地承认与冈北语族的孔布玛丽人是我们寺院所在地的传统许世者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没放弃主权的第一民族的原住民也致敬。And we have another piece of our opening protocol, which is called the bell song, and originally in Chinese, and I'm not able to do a respectful version of the Chinese original, so we've translated the bell song into English, and see what you think. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000劫内，佛法扬万亿国中，共训其义，法界和平，利益报谈而后得。Alrighty. Now, over the last several months of following the story of our grand teacher, Master Empty Cloud, Xu Yun Lao Hashan, We have watched him engage in dialogue, conversations with a number of different individuals. One of them, this conversation was so significant because it resulted in the end of a pogrom in the Hebrew or Yiddish tradition, where there was a kind of an ethnic cleansing happening against Jewish people. That's where pogroms began. Buddhism was the victim, was the target of similar cleansings, ethnic cleansings, cultural cleansings, religious persecution, multiple times in Chinese history. And one of those was carried out when the dynastic cycle, the 5,000 plus years of Chinese dynasties, dynastic rule, came to an end suddenly in 1911 in the 20th century. The few years that followed were greatly chaotic. There was huge chaos in China. China being a massively vast country, not the largest in terms of population on Earth. India has now become recently, numerically, the largest population on Earth. But China is not far behind and has for many, many years been the largest. But when you visit China, you recognize just what a vast barely does the job of covering how big China is geographically, culturally, historically, and in terms of population. So over those thousands and thousands of years when the Chinese have been recording their history in great detail, emperors, kings, various warlords have taken it upon themselves to purge the Buddhist institution from existence. That happened after 1911 in Yunnan, where Master Empty Cloud was rebuilding monasteries and kind of revitalizing a tradition of Buddhism that had fallen into corruption. So the warlord in charge, who was he was more than simply a bandit captain. He had the provincial government behind him. The federal government, the national government, was in disarray in China at the time. So his name was Li Genyuan, and he was burning monasteries, imprisoning monks, executing monks, confiscating the wealth of Buddhism. He met Master Empty Cloud, and in two conversations, not only lost his antagonism towards Buddhism, but he became a Buddhist. He took refuge. He took the precepts. He completely discovered through the interpretation and the personal virtue of one skinny, elderly Buddhist monk, he became a Buddhist, and his intervention, this is a graphic image of that first encounter, he became a Buddhist layman and supported Buddhism through the years, and his intervention was very significant in saving Buddhist monasteries, monks, history, libraries, etc. So here's the next picture that our teacher, Master Shenhua, interpreted these occurrences and then hired an illustrator to put these charming woodblock prints into the pages of the book. And so we have Master Empty Cloud's picture biography. That's where the book came from. So here's Master Empty Cloud, as we said, meeting with a warlord, converting him to Buddhism, to deep faith, and just bringing forth from his nature these sprouts of faith and belief. General, what was he called? Commander Li Genyuan took refuge, bowed to the Buddha. They talked through the night. They found that they were indeed zhi yin zhe, fellow bosom companions who, quote, knew each other's sound. Commander Li had been waiting for somebody to talk to his mind, to activate his potential for deep belief. So that's the story of one conversation with a a military man, and bringing him to faith. Next, we have Master Empty Cloud going and talking to Buddhists nationwide, creating the Buddhist Association of China. Next, we had a conversation with a myna bird, feathered being, who learned to recite the Buddha's name and became a vegetarian, stopped eating meat, stopped bedeviling all the other birds in the neighborhood. So Master Empty Cloud talks to a bird, brings him to faith. The next story in our picture biography is a vengeful ghost who returned to take possession of a 16-year-old girl's body to seek vengeance and repayment from an individual who had wronged him or her. I guess I don't know the gender of this spirit, but he picked up a knife and would chase after the individual who, in a previous life, in another body, had wronged him. So Master Empty Cloud, it was an 18-year-old daughter, that's what it was, an 18-year-old girl. The spirit took refuge and became a Buddhist as well. Repented of the grievance and put an end to the cycle and endless cycles of killing and then revenge and then killing and then revenge. So we have an encounter with a spirit, a disembodied spirit that possessed the body of a young girl. Last week, our story was about Master Empty Cloud being picked up by a gang of bandits in uniform. These were local authorities who took advantage of the vacuum of central power following the fall of the dynasty. This is now, in this year it was 1916, so 5 years after the republic was established. Central authority has not yet come into being, so there's still chaos in the land. And into the vacuum step these various gangs of armed paramilitary types. So that was what happened last week. 150 people were arrested under suspicion, quote, of being revolutionaries, counter-revolutionaries. They were, what's one of the polite words? They were extorted for bribes to be let go, but there were 6 monks who, of course, didn't have pocket money, and so they were the last ones left. And the bandits in uniforms beat them up, threatened them with death, until a layman came and paid the fines, meaning bribed the bandits and set them free. So here's an encounter with that could have been fatal, but was luckily there was a disciple who went paid the bonds, paid the bail. The next encounter that we found out about last week was with workers who were carrying a jade Buddha image from Penang all the way out to rural mountainous Yunnan province. The image was offered up to Master Empty Cloud, but he couldn't accept it at the time, so he stashed it in a monastery in Penang, Ji Le Si, and now it was on its way finally. And so the workers got out to Wild Man Mountains, Yerin Shan, this place in a really remote area of Yunnan province, and they set the jade Buddha down, sat down themselves and said, more money, double our wages, or we're not going. They had heard the rumor that Buddha images had valuables stuck inside them. So they had their eyes on the Buddha image. And Master Empty Cloud pointed to a rock by the side of the road and said, do you suppose that weighs more than the Buddha? And they said, yeah, probably 2 or 3 times. And then one man, lifted it over his head, lifted the rock up. And they're all, you can see, as they say in Chinese, wu ti tou di, 5 limbs on the ground in prostration. And his unique character was 不念旧恶. He never held a grudge. So when the workers now, in deep faith and reverence and a little bit of fear that he might drop the rock on their heads, they carried the jade Buddha all the way home. Master Empty Cloud rewarded them, praised their faith, and doubled their salary all the same, right? So that's the kind of man he was. So we get now to today's incredible story, and let me close this. Here we go. The title of this is 水陆感应瑞电祥瑞. It is now 1918 at the end of the year, and the English title is Performing a Water and Land Ceremony which Brought Auspicious Omens. He himself is 79 to 80 years old, and let's look at the story first. And it's a big story, and we've got actually 2 documents here. Master Shenhua, our teacher and the author of this book, had Master Empty Cloud's autobiography to go on. And the autobiography is very sparse. Master Empty Cloud was not one to praise himself, but he did, when it was valuable, he did record details of conversations. And so we've got these 2 documents. Sometimes we just look at the picture biography, and that counts for these events. Other times, to fill in, you could say, the color into the black and white photo, we go back to the autobiography. This is one of those cases. So let's look first at the brief account and then go to the detailed color photo to get more of the flavor. Okay, here we go. 戊午年79岁，汤既要督军李庆赴昆明做佛事，公协土修元王，土欲匪，说服I'm sorry, yeah, that's 说 not 说说服致电建堂，允欲行3事：一，做一场大佛事，求佛加倍，消灾免难，超见亡灵；二，建大丛林，弘扬佛法；三，办以完善大学，教育青年。公约：我议定3事，净土大赦正绩，皆照办。己为80岁sorry, my mistake. 80岁法护开始，竹阶现莲花，彩多目，七七圆满，颂圣，空中现床幡宝盖。All right. 1918, Master was 79 years old. The military governor, Tang Jiyao, respectfully invited him to come to Kunming to perform Buddhist ceremonies. The master set out with a disciple named Shouyuan, but en route they encountered bandits, don't you know, whom the master persuaded to let them go. Arriving in Kunming, he met with Governor Tang, who wanted to accomplish 3 deeds. 1, convene a large Buddhist assembly to seek the support of the Buddhas in eradicating disasters and misfortune, and to take across the spirits of the dead. 2, to establish a large monastery in order to propagate the Buddha Dharma. And 3, to set up an entirely wholesome college for the education of the young. Okay, we need to slide over here. The master told him, I also have 3 suggestions. 1, prohibit the slaughter of animals. 2, proclaim a general amnesty. And 3, send relief to those in distress. These deeds were done, and in 1919, when the master turned 80, the Dharma assembly began. The flames of the candles took on the shape of lotus blossoms with brilliant, dazzling colors. At the completion of 49 days, while sending off the sages, clouds of canopies appeared in the sky, along with banners and flags. And that indeed is the moment that the artist chose to capture with his woodblock. These are canopies and banners in the sky, in the clouds, and flames are burning the various plaques and the decorations that were set up. And here is a monk in a Wu Fo Ding, of 5 Buddhas cap. Here are 2 more. You can see they're dressed in extreme ceremonial garments that are not worn other times. Now, each of our episodes is accompanied by a verse by Master Hsuan Hua, and it's very rare that he limits it to a single sentence, 感应难思, inconceivable response. Okay, now I'm going to point to one sentence here. En route, they encountered bandits whom the master persuaded to let go. Yeah, that's right. So here it is right here. What things to see here? 土欲匪说说服 5 characters. Okay, in the actual autobiography, it's about 6 paragraphs. So just to show you what we're going to do now. En route, they encountered bandits whom the master persuaded to let go. All right, so going to Kunming, let me give you a sense of where that might be. Kunming is in Yunnan. It's a capital city. You can see it's the modern capital, transportation hub of southern Yunnan province. So here it is. There we go. Here's Kunming in China. So here's larger China. Master Empty Cloud is down in Dali, which is here. So he had to travel from here, to the large capital city. And in the process, he encountered bandits somewhere, somewhere in these mountains. Okay, you can imagine how much danger was represented here. All right, what happened? Cliff, are you willing? Okay, I'm going to have Cliff reads Chinese clearly, and people can get a sense. So I will keep scrolling down to there, and then I'll pick up on the English, all right? So, Cliff, here we go. This is the autobiography. This is Master Empty Cloud's actual telling of the story.
唐都纪敖派员被书问，令宾川县知事同入山迎请再三，不得已允赴昆明。时时道途多艰，县已成于即派兵护送，却之。庆途修缘同行，一粒一符一铲一藤架，步行而往，至楚雄途中遇匪，搜出唐至于之函，威吓讨打，曰：“不必打，请见你们总司令。”即拿见其首领杨天福，吴学显，喝曰：“你是什么人？”曰：“寄宿山和尚。”问何名？曰：“虚云。”问进省做什么？曰：“做佛事。”曰：“做佛事为什么？”曰：“为人民起消灾难。”曰：“唐继尧是个匪，你为何去帮助他？他是个坏人，你与他来往亦是坏人。”曰：“你说坏人，却是难说。”曰：“何以难说？”曰：“往好处说，人人都是好人；往坏处说，个个皆是坏人。”问曰：“怎么说？”曰：“假使你与唐两位都是为国为民，为福国福民，乃至你们部下个个都如此，岂不是个个都是好人？从坏处 就是说，你说唐是坏，他说你是坏，各有成见，如同水火，兵连祸结，害尽人民，岂不个个都坏了？老百姓从左是盗，从右是匪，何等可怜！一等闻罢皆笑。如曰：依你说不错，但是如何好？于曰：依我说，你们不要打，请你们招安。吾曰：难道叫我投降吗？曰：不是这样说。我说招安者，因为你们都是贤才，是招国家之贤士，以安地方也。只要你们莫存私见，安民救国，岂不是好？吾曰：向何处办理？曰：向唐办理。吾曰：向唐就不干，他杀了我许多人，关进我许多人，现正要向他报复，还要降他，就此理。于曰：先生误会，我说向唐办理者，因为他现在是中央委的官吏，事权在手，将来你也是中央官吏，他杀了你许多人，我这回去做佛事，就是超度兵士亡魂。至若关起来的人，我这回要劝他大赦的，您的人不能再例外。况且你如不听我劝，古今战争胜败难说，你与唐各有各的力量，究竟他比你为难？究竟你比他为难？他有人有财有补充有中央力量，似比你强。我今日不是向你招安，路过此地都算有缘，为国牺牲，为民安乐，方外人不惜饶舌也。杨儒等大感动，反为托我的代表。语曰：代表不敢当，请你们提出条件，我有机会当向唐说。杨儒等审议再三，提出6条：一，在招安前先放回我们的人；二，不要把我们兵解散；三，不得将我们职权取消；四，我们队伍归我们管；五，过去2家战争事不得追究；六，招安后彼此兵不得有两样待遇。
All right, thank you, Cliff. Here we go. Amazing encounter. And the fact that Master Empty Cloud remembered and could repeat the conversation, so we get the gist. So I started this by saying he's met with warlords, minor birds, ghosts, workers, and now he's face to face with bandits. And these are outlaws who will happily kill monks or anyone if it's to their benefit. Master Empty Cloud speaks directly to their Buddha natures. Listen. So, Tang Jiyao, he was a local, the official the current temporary government official. Tang Jiyao sent emissaries with letters repeatedly requesting that I come. He ordered the magistrate of Binchuan County to accompany them into the mountains to invite me again and again. With no alternative, I consented to go to Kunming. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Master Empty Cloud was very, very happy to stay on the mountain in, let's see here. I'll give you one previous point here. It was 就说民国75年79岁6月张勋康有为永废帝复辟失败，冯国璋代理大总统。9月孙中山在广东被举为大元帅，南北对立。Okay, Zhang Xun and Kang Youwei attempted to support the abdicated emperor in a restoration. Okay, are they heroes? Are they just stupid obstacles to progress? They want to bring the old emperor back. The effort failed. Feng Guozhang served as acting president. In September, Sun Yat-sen, Sun Zhongshan, was elected generalissimo in Guangdong. The North and the South stood in opposition. Chaos, right? This is hard times. So at this point, Master Empty Cloud only wants to stay on the mountain, be a monk, speak Dharma, teach people, but he doesn't get the chance because the local Yunnan governor, Mr. Tang, sends letters saying, please come. We need you to bring Dharma to Yunnan, all right? With no alternative, I consented grudgingly to go to Kunming. At that time, the roads were extremely difficult. The county prepared a sedan chair and assigned soldiers. I got a bodyguard. I declined. Instead, I went on foot with a monk, carrying one bamboo hat, one rain cape, one spade, and one rattan staff. This is how our monk rolls, right? On the way to Chushong, we encountered bandits. They searched us, found a letter from Tang addressed to me. The bandits, of course, are absolutely opposed to the government representative. They threatened and then tortured us. So, don't you know? I mean, he is not one to complain or whinge, as they say here in Australia. He was being tortured. I said, you don't have to beat me. Take me to your commander. Who's in charge? So I was taken to their leaders, Yang Tianfu and Wu Xuexian. They shouted, who are you? I said, I'm a monk from Jizu Mountain. What's your name? I said, Xu Yun, empty cloud. Why are you going to Kunming? We're going to conduct Buddhist rituals. Why conduct Buddhist rituals? To pray for the people and eliminate disasters. Okay? So just notice that he's able to reproduce this conversation in his journal. They said, Tang Jiao, the government representative, is a bandit. Why are you going to help him? He's a bad man. Therefore, anybody who wants to see him, by association, is also a bad man. I said, don't be so sure. When someone is bad, it's really hard to say. Why is it difficult to say? Well, if you look at it from the good side, everybody's a good person. You look at it from the bad side, everybody's a bad person. What do you mean by that nonsense? Right? If you and Tang are both acting for the country and for the people, seeking benefit for the nation and the people, if your subordinates are likewise, then isn't everybody a good person? But if we speak from the bad side, you say Tang is bad, he says you are bad, everybody is prejudiced like fire and water in opposition, warfare will continue without end, bringing calamity to the people. Why not everyone then be bad? Common people are called thieves if they follow the left, bandits if they follow the right. How pitiful that is. All right? Really good logic. In debate, Master Empty Cloud is formidable. So the two bandit chieftains, Yang and Wu, hear this, and what did? They laughed because they saw exactly true. Wu said, what you say makes sense. What do we do? How do you change anything? I said, in my view, you should stop fighting and accept pacification. Buzheng. Well, you mean I should quit, I should surrender. That is not what I mean. Notice the wisdom here. By pacification, I mean you are all worthy talents to be recruited by the state and employed to bring peace to the region. If you let go of your private prejudice and if you work to pacify the people and save the country, wouldn't that be good? Wu said, well, who can do that? Who do we talk to? Go through Tang, the enemy. I won't deal with Tang. He's killed many of my men and imprisoned others. I'm going to get my revenge. How could I possibly surrender to him? Master Empty Cloud says, right down the middle, no, you misunderstand. I suggest dealing with Tang because he is currently an official of the Central Committee and holds authority. In the future, you too can become a central official. He has killed many of your men. This time, I am going to conduct Buddhist rites precisely to deliver the souls of all the fallen soldiers. As for those in prison, I will ask him to grant a general amnesty. Your people will also be included. Moreover, if you don't heed my advice, in war, victory and defeat are uncertain. You and Tang are both strong, but in reality, you have a disadvantage. He has manpower, money, reinforcements, and the support of the federal government. Today, I'm not formally pacifying you. I'm merely passing through this place. Since you and I now have affinities, I speak at length to end conflict for the country and bring peace to the people. Okay, do you see how skillfully he is speaking to the wisdom of the current bandit chief, who may in fact be, just as he says, a righteous person, but who is currently not the one in power, not the one supported by the Central Committee, which is a very temporary provisional government. Yang and Wu were deeply moved and instead asked me to act as their representative. I said, no, I don't dare, 不敢当, I don't, humbling himself, no, that's too lofty for me. Please give your conditions. If I have the opportunity, I will convey them to the governor. So he's gone under to support the bandit chief, who obviously recognize this is a superior individual, and they're further ahead by getting him on their side. What a skillful response. After careful deliberation, they said 6. Before pacification, release our prisoners, your prisoners who are my men. Number 2, we will not lay down our weapons. 3, our official authority should not be taken away. Number 4, we still control our troops. Number 5, don't go into who was right and who was wrong in the past. After pacification, everybody gets treated the same. Okay? So these are the conditions. What are the chances? What are the chances of the bandit chieftain's 6 proposals being accepted? Okay, we have another chunk of Chinese. Thank you for your patience. It's not long. And Cliff, are you ready?
于曰：“次此条件想不成问题，易于堂商量，当有公事给你们。”即派员接洽。吾曰：“烦劳老师傅，事若办好，我们感谢。”于曰：“不言谢，我是顺便经过的。”杨吴寄语以优待。是夕一谈些别事，甚欢，欲留住，予以事忙，立日辞行。陪早餐毕，送路费食物及备驴马，派人护送，却之，只收路上食品。出营盘半里，忽见数人跪在地上，后头如捣。视之，即昨日殴打于之兵芒也。连呼请菩萨恕我，于慰劳之，并劝其诸恶莫作，众善奉行，皆改替而去。于到昆明，唐派员接待，住圆通寺祝龙台。晚请见，唐曰：“于法师别几年，我祖母家父世人舍地相继谢世，心已难安，更加土匪遍地，民不聊生，将士伤亡，孤魂犹碎。因此想做3件事：一，做一场大佛事，求佛加倍，消灾免难，超见亡灵；二，将圆通寺建一大丛林，弘扬佛法；三，办一完善之大学，以教育青年。第3件我自有人办，至第1、2件老法师外，无人能任也。”
Okay. So notice the point that I made that in the picture biography, it was 5 characters. In reality, there's so much more here. So luckily we have the autobiography from his own pen, so we can, as I say, add the color to the black and white sketch. I said, your 6 conditions, no problem. I will present them to Tang, and he will send out official documents and send out some representatives to negotiate with you. Wu, number 2 bandit chief, said, trouble you, please, if you don't mind. If the matter succeeds, we will be grateful. I said, no need for thanks, I'm just passing through. Okay, to go from subject of torture and beating to representative, who then, is happy to take your part, but don't thank me. I'm just here to serve. Yang and Wu treated me generously. That evening we spoke of other matters, very cordial. They wished me to stay. I declined due to pressing affairs, so to speak. The next morning after breakfast, they offered travel funds, provisions, horses, and an escort. I said, no thanks, I'll just take some food. So he said no to the governor, who was going to put him in a palanquin and give him a bodyguard. And he said, no, I'll just walk. And then he got the equivalent from the bandits. He said, no thanks, you can feed me, that's good. A monk from start to finish. After leaving the camp about half a mile, I suddenly saw several men kneeling on the ground, bowing repeatedly. They were the soldiers who had beaten me the day before. They cried out, begging the Bodhisattva to forgive them. I comforted them and exhorted them to refrain from evil and to do all good. They wept with gratitude and departed. So this, I wanted to just point out, this happened over and over in the stories, that people who, out of ignorance, mistreated Master Empty Cloud throughout his life, when they finally met him and discovered who he was, they, without exception, were just moved and saw his virtue and wished to become better people, having met him. So he arrives in Kunming. Tang, the provisional governor, sent officials to receive me, and we stayed at the Julong Terrace of Yentong Monastery. He requested an audience that night, and he says, I haven't seen you for several years. Meanwhile, my grandmother, my father, my wife, my younger brother, all in succession, have died. My heart is grieving. Moreover, bandits are everywhere. The people cannot survive. Soldiers are wounded and killed. Lonely spirits wander around, hungry. So, my wish is to do three things. Conduct a great Buddhist ceremony to seek the Buddha's blessing, dispel disasters, avert calamities, and deliver the spirits of the dead. Build Yentong Monastery into a great monastic center to promote the Buddha Dharma. And then 3, establish a monastery to educate the youth. I said, I'll do number 3 myself. He said, the Master Tong, the governor, said, I can do number 3, the university. For the first 2, you're the only one who can take responsibility for these. Okay, we've got just a little more to finish the story. Cliff, call on you again, please. Here we go, starting right here.
曰：公发宏愿，斯事稀有，是菩萨发心，那知识浅薄，无此能力。见丛林是海内大德多人，但圆通寺非丛林地，住不过100众耳，请再考虑。制作佛事日期不多，可待效劳。唐曰：师言圆通寺地方不合丛林，甚高见，往后再说。做佛事如何办法？曰：心佛一体，感应道交，公办此事，为国为民，忧民普利纳于见。于佛事之先，请恭敬3事：一、道场起经之日，全市净土；二、大赦牢狱；三、赈济难民。唐曰：一、3事可照办，至第2件，系中央司法主权，某不能自主也。余曰：国家多事，中央已不能顾及，止于司礼商之，便能做到，以亚天修。唐首肯。余又曰：那再有报告，将路上遇杨天福、吴学显经过事详说，并未及此大赦，将他们的人放出，亦易于感化也。唐听说当下大喜，即斟酌办理大赦及招安事，已岁末矣。是欧阳靖吴与吕秋义居士道颠为支那法学院筹经费，同住圆通寺，请讲摄大乘论，在昆明度岁。
Okay, thank you everybody for your patience, and those of us who don't read Chinese as well. This is a rare chance to actually hear and kind of create affinities with a literary tradition that our grand teacher is employing in writing. Luckily, he, in 1917, wrote down his thoughts immediately, because the subtlety and the humility and the erudition with which he records these events give us a picture of China at the time from one of the major players of geopolitical, spiritual, cultural intersection that he was instrumental in shaping. So how rare to get to hear it from the source. This is a historical document as well, and usually, currently our culture takes international events and boils them down into a 30-second TikTok video, and that's all we get. We get the abstraction of the abstraction put in moving pictures. This is a source. We're looking at a source of culture. We're looking at a document at the, granular level of the actual words that were spoken by the players here. And we can see how one monk's virtue molded history, shaped the actual events that happened. And without this, it would be invisible to us. We would just simply be unaware. So the conversation continues. I replied, "You, Governor Tang, have made vast and rare vows. This is a bodhisattva's resolve." He's praising him. "My knowledge is shallow. I lack such ability." Oh yeah? "As for building a great monastery, there are many eminent masters throughout the land, but Yuantong Monastery is not suited to be a large monastic complex. It can house no more than 100 monks. Please reconsider. As for Buddhist rites, time is short, I can help." I want to point out that the governor says, "Please rebuild Yuantong Si." He says, "No, 不适合, only going to be this big." He could have grabbed it, but because Master Empty Cloud knows, he can see the Qianyin Houguo, he can see the causing additions, he says, that place actually is not the place. So he says, "We accept your great offer. Don't invest the resources there." Tang said, "Your observation that this monastery is not suitable is very insightful. Thank you for guiding us. We will discuss that later. How should Buddhist rites be conducted?" I replied, "Mind and Buddha are one. Response arises through resonance, through response. 感应道教. You undertake this for the country and the people, benefiting both the living and the dead. In my humble view, before the rites begin, please check 3 things. Number 1, on the day we open the sutras at the ritual site, the entire city must be vegetarian. 2, let all the prisoners go. 3, save those suffering refugees. Here is wisdom regarding immigration." Right? Enough said. Tang said, "Number 1 and number 3 I can do. Number 2, that is the courts, so I can't do that on my own. I'll have to talk to the judges and the bailiffs." I replied, "The country's a mess. Central authorities can't pay attention to everything. If you go ask the judges, it can be accomplished, and the gods will be pleased." Tang said, "Done." Look at this. Look at the skill here in saying, don't pass the buck. You can do it. And you're creating incredible blessings. So I then added, "By the way," said Master Empty Cloud, "I met some guys on the road here. I have another report." And I recounted in detail my encounter with Yang and Wu, the bandit chieftains on the road, adding that if you let them go through the amnesty, they will become good. When Tang heard this, he was delighted and immediately began both the amnesty and pacification. The year was already drawing to a close. Look at that. So just by Master Empty Cloud's intervention, look at the bloodshed that was prevented, and look at the goodness that was created, and the future of both the provisional governor, who was grieving because he has had personal losses, and the 2 bandit chieftains, who in fact were patriots, but working out of power simply by touching their Buddha natures in all 3 cases. Now, Mr. Tang, the governor, the official governor, was already a Buddhist, so he didn't have to start so far back. But the process is the same. A person of virtue, Master Empty Cloud, brings their wisdom forward. At that time, Ouyang Jingwu and the layman Lü Qiuyi arrived in Yunnan to raise funds for the China Institute of Buddhist Studies. They stayed at Yuanteng Si, and Ouyang, the layman, lectured. We spent the New Year in Kunming. Okay. Now, that's a remarkable encounter. And, of course, a remarkable series of encounters. And so when I say Master Xuanhua, Shifu, brought it down to 5 characters. On the road, I met some bandits, and I convinced them. Shifu, I crossed him over, right? He says, the master persuaded to let them go. He did much more than that. But because of the confines of this brief story, Master Xuanhua had to condense it deeply. But I thought it's really worthwhile to include the stories, to include the color. Now, what I wanted to show everyone was this. Not noise-canceling headphones. I wanted you to see, come back here, there we go. In 1987, a water, land, and air ceremony was held at City of 10,000 Buddhas, historical, the first time this had ever happened in North America. Here are the monks, led by Master Mingyang, Master Zhenchan. This is the first time since 1949 that Chinese monks and lay people had left China in delegation for any reason whatsoever. Here they are, having arrived at Gold Mountain Monastery. Here is a group photo. These are the principles. Now, Master Empty Cloud convened a water, land, and air ceremony in Kunming in 1917, now in 1987. So this very ceremony was brought to North America. Shui Lu Kong Fa Hui. This is the most ornate of all of the Mahayana ceremonies. Here is Master Hua, here is Master Mingyang, here is Master Zhenchan, right? And when current monks look at this and look at the faces, they go, oh, all the bodhisattvas were there who have passed away, except a few who are still around somehow. Not that they're bodhisattvas, but they're still around. All right. So, just incredible experience to say that the spirit, Master Empty Cloud's energy, is still very much alive in the world in the presence of Master Xuanhua and what he established. Up here in the corner, this is Mr. Hu Jianning. I'm going to bring him forward. I can't make it bigger. Here he is right here. Hu Jianning was the acting director of the museum, the Shanghai Art Museum. He was the one that they brought from China to create all of the necessary structures that support the water, land, and air. He's the artist who knew how to paint the pictures of the Neitan, the inner pagoda and all. He is an incredible individual who we became good friends with and over the years sustained the friendship. You can see this was a major Buddhist event in Northern California in 1987. You see the friendship among the principals. By the way, this is Rosalind Huang Guoling, the main supporter of the monastery here. Here she is, right there. So, just to say, I found these photos. Here's the, let's see, Liberating the Flaming Mouth. Give you a sense of the, when it's going, what it looks like inside. This is the Fang Yankou ceremony with 5 great masters and all the monks chanting, ringing the bells, reciting mantras to open the hells and bring the spirits up, and feeding the hungry ghosts and setting them free. It's extremely powerful, 5-hour-long ceremony. Everyone is going, Nan Ya Hong, Nan Ya Hong, Nan Ya Hong, dong, dong, ching, ching, ching. Oh, it's so powerful. We, of course, still wet behind the ears, had never imagined a ceremony as ornate and as transformative as this. But you can see there were 100 monks and nuns and lay people involved. Many of these principals who were there in 87 have on their own passed away. Here's the field. Here's an example of how ornate and incredible this experience was. Right? So there we are. And the monks whom I have spoken to said, although they came all the way from China to America, and that in itself was a spectacular experience for them, they said the single most important moment for them was Master Hua sending them off on his knees as they filed by him, getting on the bus to go to the airport, and handing each one of them a string of beads. Because they knew who our teacher was and what he represented. He is Master Empty Cloud's Dharma heir, and he is on his knees, saying to them, thank you for coming. He said this was the single most touching moment for the Chinese monks, was Master Hua's send-off of them. Master Zhen Chan, Master Ming Yang, Master Ming Zhe, and our teacher. Okay, time's up. So this story that we have of one dedicated monk who feared no difficulty, feared no toil, feared no pain, and the changes that he made to the culture of China and the culture of Buddhism in the opening years of the 20th century are still powerful to this day. See you next week. We have more amazing stories to come. Let's dedicate merit. Here we go. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see, our hands and hearts can find in giving unity. May our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their boundless light. Dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of painters in paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Okay, gratitude to those who helped with the technical side of things and with the translation into Chinese and into Vietnamese. We can bow to Guanyin Bodhisattva together and see you all next week. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Here we go, one bow. Second bow. Third bow. Amitofo. See you all next week, everybody. Bye-bye now.